Grand praise to everyone, and to everyone, grand blessings. I hope that everyone is doing okay and progressing even better. I know that this comes as a shock because I don't get on as much as I should or could, but I'm here and I have some topics to discuss. Nonetheless, let's jump into this because I've got a list of things to communicate about, and I want to get through as much of it as I can in the short time I'm broadcasting, so that way they can be addressed, and that will be the broadcast. It has been some time, and for all of you who know the program, do subscribe up here at the top, wherever it's at on for you, somewhere up in this region. But do subscribe. I could use the support, and do hit the like thumbs up because it does help the broadcast. So click that and show your support. You're welcome to over here in this section here to communicate with me, and there's a number of different ways to communicate. So do reach out and speak English only because I'm an American and I don't know foreign language. So do speak English. I had pinned it right there in that section. It's pinned. So do read that and pay attention so you yourself don't get confused and share information that can't be read, and nor do you have or understand how to translate if that is your position. And then I'm left with looking at it and reading what it says the best way I can, but not understanding what it is you're trying to say. And that could cause confusion and frustration. And I'm not here to cause confusion or frustration. I'm here to share myself and to communicate and basically to address myself in this case because I'm the only one on broadcasting. But to those who want to listen in and share feedback or communicate, chit chat, hang out, or whatever it may be, talk dirty to me, call me a bunch of this and that, or say things that don't make sense that you feel you want to get off your chest, whatever it may be, I don't mind. A conversation with you is better than no conversation at all. So feel free to join, hang out, and express yourself. But nonetheless, it's been some time So let's jump into this. It is going to be Thanksgiving if it's not already Thanksgiving in your area based on where you live and the time stamp as far as your clock is concerned. So again, be thankful that you're still alive. I am, and many others are as well. And that's a good thing. I do wish my death to happen and to peacefully guide me to heaven through ending my life here on this planet and um, returning back to heaven and being gifted peace and comfort and eternal life. But I'm not in as big of a rush to get there, depending on who you may be and how you assume you plan to send me to God. So don't rush to giving me a dead sentence or terminating my life. Because if you can't do it peacefully and very safe, where I don't feel any pain, then I don't want you to do anything but stay safe and to focus on yourself. But if you could send me like in my sleep to God where I stop breathing, then I'm okay with that and I'll go through with it and I'll go to God. And it is me committing suicide, but you being able to make the move necessary to processing me unalived on this planet and on my journey back to heaven. If you can do that, then speak to me and we'll negotiate, we'll conversate, we'll chat, we'll work the ins and the outs out, and then we'll meet up and it'll happen and you'll just have to deal with the outcome of if they catch you, then you're going to be in trouble because I'm not going to be in trouble because I won't be here if that happens and it goes through that way. And I'm not going to rat on you because I won't be here to communicate. But you know how they use science and technology and GPS and, what they use. So just know DNA or however they catch you, if they catch you, uh, that'll be on you. But, you know, I'm, I've already said what I said, and I'm not going to worry with trying to not say what I had said. So that's that to that. At one point in time, I wanted to stay alive and be here for as long as I can stay alive on the planet. But the circumstances of living happy and comfortable doesn't seem like it's going to be in my favor, as it's not currently in my favor at this time. And unless I get to see my son, which I haven't seen since he was 2 years old, and or my baby mama, my ex, so we can work our difference out and negotiate a better outcome than the short end of the stick and kidnapping and uh, non-fairness that she had slipped me with this situation, her stealing my son. Then there's not a whole lot of joy staying alive on the planet. And I'm not trying to say that it won't get better somewhere along down later the road, but to be hopeful that it's going to work itself in my favor and I'm going to see my son and get to smile and hug him and tell him I love him and, have that joy of partnership and father and son bonding moment. That's probably not going to happen. And I don't count myself short. I just know that I had to explain to my baby mama before she had done what she did. I told her she shouldn't do. She did anyway, which is where I stand in this mess, innocent. But before she had done all that, I told her not to. I told her that God talked to me and told me that she was going to do something crazy. And I told her to not do any of that. She promised me she would never do that. And then later on down the road, after confusing circumstances cause pain and misunderstanding, she decided that she'd move on with her life. And instead of working things out with me, she had moved on. And when she had moved on, I had reminded myself that this doesn't get any easier. It gets painful because I'm the one that's got to deal with the loss and the separation. And I'm already having a hard time at that time dealing with not being with my baby mama. So to not have any contact with my son, not because I crossed the line and I'm a criminal, but because the circumstances of my ex and her relationship seem to be way more important than the outcome of parenting and equal parenting rights split down the middle where it's fair, was a whole different ball game. And I got cut from being in my son's life. And it's not the joyous of places to be in for those who know of what I've gone through or have gone through something similar or worse. It's not the fairest of conditions to be placed with. And it's almost as bad as losing your child and it's not your fault, but your child's no longer here alive on the planet. It's just as next to that being that. And I have no idea where my son's at. And the government and system of business and the court system and attorneys and lawyers and all that jazz, they did not help. They only helped her commit further theft and kidnapping and stealing, harboring and running is all they did. That's all they did. They didn't do anything good that was the better benefit of the child and correcting the situation that was the loss the father I face and have faced since this issue was situated. And I didn't do anything wrong to my baby mama, so let's get that straight. I didn't cross any lines and harass her. I stayed to myself and I just decided that I would focus on myself and try and understand whatever it is I needed to understand, which I did not that whole scenario of time. But to try and understand the best way I could and see if I could fix it or adjust it or, help myself help that situation in a better play, but it didn't work out the way that I thought it could have. And I was just left with disappointment, sadness, confusion, misunderstanding, loss, and a lot of pain. So I know my baby mama dealt with some pain too because we were both in love, but at least that's what I tell myself because we made the choice to have a child, and that doesn't happen because two people are having sex. It happens because these two partners are in love and their feelings and their emotions and their truth aligns up with the light, and that allows them to offspring new life. Because people have sex all the time and they don't get pregnant. But when you catch two people who love each other and it's real love, then the chemicals in your body change and it allows you to know that you and your partner had bonded, and that allows your semen juice and her egg to match, and then bada bing, bada boom, the process is the process. But nonetheless, I'm not trying to tell you guys about the birds and the bees because there's no need for me to worry about telling you about the birds and the bees when you should already know how to have sex. Penis goes in vagina. There's a lot of thrusting going on unless you're in my position and you're very sensitive. And then it's just on contact. Oh, I'm sorry. I would love to have lasted longer, but I'm very sensitive, and you happen to be that person that I'm very sensitive to. So I don't have any control over this one. It's out of my hands, and that's just the way it is. But we're not trying to say that I'm not worth the time. It's just that I got to build a whole lot of build on that activity and that exercise workout, that partnership pair duo, that game of tossing it up and hitting it back, you know, doing what it does. I got to have a lot of practice, and not having sex currently, not being in a relationship, and not having a sex partner, a committed, loyal, consistent sex partner does not help the becoming a porn star type status, good sex partner, uh, workout, pro game. It doesn't help. So, and with women and men charging each other for intimacy, it doesn't help either. And me not having a job doesn't help if I was to find someone who was suitable and safe to engage in intimate activities. They're going to charge me if most of them are already not charging, they will be. And then I have to come up with those expenses, not to mention the date itself, the moment before meeting, the moment when meeting, all the activities, and so on and there, so on after. It just becomes expensive. And I don't have, you know, endless dollars to fund my intimate activity or my personal activity, my private activity, my business activity, and just activities in general. So it becomes a big issue. And I do my best to remind myself that it shouldn't be any of that, which it is because of the market, government, business, religion, and life. And all those are to blame as to why women and men feel the need to charge each other for an intimate moment when that intimate moment should be free. It should be gifted with joy, excitement, and privilege. But, I'm speaking to the choir on this one because no one cares when it comes to the dollar. They only care about the dollar, and as many dollars as they can accumulate is their goal. And that doesn't leave the rest of us who either don't accumulate dollars or have a trouble holding on to dollars because life is expensive when it shouldn't be. And we're going to get into all those, but at this time, that's the situation. So it becomes a bigger hassle and a misunderstanding when it's all like, hey, look, I like you. And I'd like to know that we can share each other with each other and it's not a problem. And you're not going to get all crazy on me and start thinking and doing and acting all kinds of off the wall, upside down when we start, if we start, or if we don't start, and whatever happens between us. And usually that happens instantly because they've already planned what it is the next move, and you weren't either included or you were of wondrous options and a possible selection while they were planning all the other activities around the activities that they wanted to have as their fun and their engagement. So it just depends. But I'm not trying to talk bad about anyone or say anything mean or try and come off as an asshole or misunderstood, uninformed, unknowledgeable individual. I'm just saying based on the truth, and that is existing factor, that is the outcome, and that is very much true on all levels of location, area, region, and partner. So that's the business on that. But again, I'm not trying to be mean again, so don't take what I'm saying the wrong way. Just take it with an open mind and an easy heart and be reasonable and very much complete when adding all this up, and you'll be fine. But if you rush and then you get misunderstood, you get confused, then you're going to add it up any which way you want just to make it make sense to yourself, which it won't. And then you're going to be upset and misguided, confused, lost, and, up the rabbit hole and down the side and around the corner somewhere, talking all kinds of nonsense. And I don't want to hear it because I've already explained and reminded you that you shouldn't, that should not be. And if you do go ahead and go through with that, then there's not much I can say to fix it because you didn't want to fix it while I was explaining it. And that seems to be your problem, not mine, because I'm not upset, angry, or misguided. I'm not wrong, nor am I um, uninformed or unknowledgeable. So that seems to be a personal issue, and you should consult with a therapist, a counselor, a mentor, a teacher, a trainer, or an instructor of some sort to work that through. And they have all kinds of locations that offer counsel and membership. So, okay. Well, as long as he decides that when he gets up and it's done, when it's all done, he gets himself a bowl or a plate or a tray, and he packs himself some, so that way he's not in the kitchen hiding out and digging out of someone else's bowl, and then trying to make it seem like that's his food he's eating, and yet he's dipping into somebody else's food they packed away, because he did that with the ribs and or the pork chops and the rice, and I was just like, I had another piece of meat. I had three pieces of meat, and all of a sudden I only got two pieces of meat, and I still got all my rice, and I was just like, I seen him in the kitchen doing something, but I didn't go and check. Like, let me go and look and be all up in your business. You should be able to be in the kitchen and around the house and not do anything crazy. And that was too much to ask for. Are you going to sleep now? Okay. Oh, okay, okay. So what do you want me to focus on? Well, Thanksgiving is not until tomorrow. Oh, okay. Uh huh. Well, I eat most of everything that you cook. It just I sit and I wait until whenever, and then I go and I eat. I don't eat right away because I'm not in a mood where I'm just like, I want food. Even when I want food, I'm just not in a mood where I just want to get up and eat. I want to just eat later when I've had more time to sit and to get even super hungry, and then I'm all like, yeah, now I'm ready to eat, and then I go and I eat. All right. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Sorry about all that. My mom, she was explaining to me what her situation is in the kitchen with the Thanksgiving meal, and I was listening in because if I needed to act upon being in the kitchen and assisting, nothing burning and everything finishing up, then that would be my position. But at this time, it's not serious for me to worry about too much except what I'm already worried about currently on this broadcast. So it works out to my favor that um, I don't have much to focus in on except taking care of myself. But I will dip back and forth into the kitchen and check what is in the kitchen, what's going on, so that way I can be aware of anything that would need my assistance. As my mom, she's got to go to work here not too long from now, and she won't be here at the house to finish up cooking. And what would be left would need a watchful eye and a steady understanding to finishing it up and then plating, storing it, preserving it in the refrigerator or uh, kitchen space, uh, so that way the rest of the family can eat and it's not wasted. So it's just some things here and there, but other than that, there's not a whole lot to focus my attention into, and I try and do my best to stay on point with everything and not lose sight of what's important or where my needs of need to be. But outside of that, back to what I was saying, it's just all that and the jazz is the business. And I don't want to have to pay for sex. I don't care who you are. I don't care why you want money. I don't care how much money you need. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to pay for sex. If I can't have sex for free, then I guess I'm not having sex with those who are charging, unless I get lucky and I feel the need to treat myself, and then I pay for it for the little bit I'm going to spend. And then that would be that moment paid for, and that would be that. But don't assume that that's going to happen, because I'm already against paying for sex and or many of other things that we get charged on this planet. And yet the circumstances of truth and reality is that everything is free. Everything exactly is free. The time and the moment of operation is expensive, and that's what it is. That's the cost. But the item and the product and the goods and the service of assistance, support, and function is free. It's all free. It grows itself for free. It's collected for free. It's then changed and adjusted and manipulated into costing. And then that cost is set up with the business and the government and life sewn in completely upside down, backwards, and tit sideways, that you assume that the outcome is that you owe so much, and you don't. But that's another conversation later on down the road. I don't know if we're going to get to any of those conversations as we're on this conversation currently, and those take up even more time, and I may be here a lot longer than I expected I would be here if I jump into all that. So let's just try and remind myself to make sure to get off this and not last for too long. So that way the outcome is that you can watch this video recording replay and you're not exhausted like, man, this man's talking about nothing and he's carrying on. And I couldn't watch the whole thing. I had to stop and do something else because there's a lot of recording and I just couldn't do it for whatever your reasons are. And I'm sorry that I'm boring or I'm dry or I'm not entertaining or upbeat or whatever it is that made you feel some type of way that turned you away from viewing and paying attention and leaving a comment and just being a friend. But it is what it is. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and I wish I was because I'm the best person on the planet, and the best person on the planet knows what the planet needs. And that's your needs. It's all your needs, nothing but your needs. Your insurance, your security, your needs, and your 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 purpose. But again, we're not going to jump too much into that either at this moment because where we are is that's not where we're at. And I can talk about all that stuff and be happy as a a race bug and and get into that. But I'm trying to stay as focused as I can be because I'm I'm trying my best. But it is what it is. So again, my baby mama, she decided to do what no woman on the planet should ever do, and or guy, depending on who's in the power position, and they're trying to destroy their partner. And she did, and she destroyed me like completely. Like I don't, nothing makes sense anymore based on what she did and how she played it. And it's a horrible situation to go through. Doesn't matter whether you're the woman or you're the man. When you go through it, you're just like, what the shit? This shit is crazy. Why is that happening? Why am I going through that? Why did you put me through that? Why did you do that? Type of deal. And it's just like, no, no. Like, why? So, and that's what I'm asking. Why? Why would you do all that that's not necessary? I never harmed you, and I never put my hands on you in a way that you would assume or fear that I would come after you and then end your life. Like, whatever, girl. You just destroyed my son, and that I can't forgive you for. I forgive you for everything else. What I did, what you did, what we did. But when you destroyed my son's life and there was no need for you to do that, I can't forgive you. And I'm not trying to be mean. It's just there are things that I'll forgive you. I don't care who you're with, I'll still take you back. I'll remind myself that I had traveled all over the world searching for you and looked to find you when I find you to offer my love, my support, my friendship, and my time, my attention all over in your favor all over again and to continuously add that I'm going to keep doing it until you say yes. But when it comes down to my son, I don't care that you raised him all this time successfully by yourself and or with support, your partner, that asshole. We're not going to get into his asshole name, but him, whoever he thinks he was, at that time lying and saying things that never happened, that he stated happened, and was a situation that I had to face being in court and in jail for issues that I had nothing to do with. But because you and him decided that you guys wanted each other more so than you wanted to be right and true, you made choices. And those choices you made costed me because I'm the one who had to go through the misunderstanding. And I promise on everything I love that I'm going to bring it back and make you pay for it. But at the end of it all, I just want to see my son and I want to know that you and I are best friends. And I hope that we remain and stay best friends even when we talk, don't talk, or whatever our status of relationship happens to end up into. But then again, you did a whole lot and you're not sorry, nor do you see where the blame you should accept and correct this issue. You assume that our son is in the best of places where he's going to be fine. But like I told you created this problem and it wasn't needed. And I told you then that he's going to grow up and hate you. Not at first, because none of that makes any sense to him. But when it comes down to, hey, look, where's your real dad at? And who's your dad? Like your real dad. And do you know who your real dad is? And did you ever know your real dad and stuff like that? It's gonna come out that you have a bunch of lies in your mouth and you have no truth. And I have all the truth cards because I've not lied still currently till this day. And I've been honest and truthful and 100% on this as I was back then. And I'm going to remain on my truth because I'm not going to be the one to look at my son and be like, oh, damn, son, daddy fucked up. Daddy didn't fuck up. Mommy fucked up. And you're going to have to take this one. And then you're going to have to remind yourself that you can't just mommy sugar overload it and think that it's just gonna make it better, because it's not. You're gonna take being hated and not being loved as strong and as deeply as you created that fake activity of lifestyle that he went through. And then he's gonna know that daddy loved son a whole lot more truer and complete than mommy did, because mommy made choices that mommy didn't need to make. And I'm still going to love you and support you, but I'm just going to remind myself that I get to take the biggest win. And that's reminding my son that he's going to continue to do what I told him to do, that I told him he should do. And he's not going to pay it too much of any mind, but he'll remember and he'll know that there's something missing. Mommy stole, and mommy didn't need to do any stealing because daddy was on both sides of the fence doing the best work that he could do given all the circumstances in the situation. And that is where it sits. So again, my ex, I love you. And to all my ex-girlfriends out there, I love you all as well. And to all my girlfriends that are my girlfriends, I love you all as well. And to all the rest of the women throughout the planet, I love you as well. And it does suck that some bad seeds in my world growing up caused me to be confused, lost, and misguided. But at the end of the day, I may be a bruised banana, but I'm still the right banana that you should hold on to. So anyway, that's that to that. But again, it is what it is. I'm not overly mad. I'm just confused and I don't know how to fix this in the saving everyone, no one taking a loss type of scenario. Because I'm the one taking the biggest loss. As I haven't seen my son since he was 2 years old and he's about to be 15. So that's a long time not being with your son, your child, your partner, or with a fix. That's a long time. So I deal with that and I remind myself that it doesn't get any easier. The holidays, the birthdays, and the seasonal months of the season when the season's changing doesn't get any easier. But I do my best to not fall off the deep end and I keep myself in the best control that I can be given emotional and depression and issues and anxiety and PTSD, stress and all that jazz. I do myself the best to not let it overwhelm me. But it's not easy, let me tell you. It is really not easy. Like if I could have already, then I would have already ended my life as I tried multiple times and I'm still here. So I've done my fair share of trying to let go, but the Lord has chosen that He wants me to still be here given I'm still here talking, and this is not a hologram nor an AI program. So I just, I don't know. I'm here. But, like I said, if it's up to me, I want to already be done because let me just jump into this real quick. We live on a planet. This planet we live on is not governed by any other entity or being that would then constitute control and forced activity of of power over us. There's none whatsoever. God's not even on the planet, and you would assume God to be a very powerful being that in a sense, what we would assume magic is, that's what he's doing. And it's just his aura and his nature and his essence doing phenomenon type uh, uh, expressed activity. And we view it slower than it actually is happening because we're witnessing it after he is already done. And this is what is the lingering activity that draws out as we're looking at it. And that's what we see. But the activity of what he did or it, whatever it is, has done happened moments before we actually witnessed what we're witnessing at that time. And so that's what it would be. But I'm not going to get into all the professor stuff because I don't want you to assume that I'm smarter than I'm not as I am, but we're not going to get into that because it's not that important. But that's where it sits with. And again, nobody knows exactly what God is, whether God's an alien or a beast, a monster, a human, which he's not, or whatever creature God is. No one knows. No one's ever seen God, and no one will ever see God. You won't see God on this planet. In this life, in this existing truth, you won't see God. God will be there, always be there, but you won't see him or it. And that's something you're going to have to just eat it and deal with that, because you're just not in a position to see God. Now, if we live true and right on the planet, then that circumstantial play out would add up differently. But we don't live true and right on the planet by having a market currency, a trade dollar, and we charge each other, force each other, hate each other, condemn each other, and reject and judge each other, and steal and doom and all that sinful jazz of bullshit that we do just to acquire and to have access to the dollar, which is the most important thing on the planet to anyone and everyone, because without the dollar, you are no one, nothing, nowhere. And with the dollar, you happen to have say so, and you have you have say so, you have privilege, you have options, and your options happen to allow you to know that you can stand in where most don't, and and adjust in your favor, and that's pretty much what it is. But not everyone gets that privilege, and most people don't know that privilege. And the few that do understand within that privilege, they're not gifted the full experience as the very few, the slight very few, know it all too well. And it should be everyone knows that experience all too well. That's what it should be. I don't care what you say and how you add it up. I'm telling you what it should be based on what the truth is, and that's reality and nature. Reality and nature added up that we are all equal. We are all of fair value and true to existence, that we should all experience the same gift in this life. We should all. There should not be a decision or a question or an outcome of wonder that some should, some shouldn't, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. We all should get the exact same experience. Staying in the market, being with business, having opportunity, purpose, placement, privilege, having expenses, being taken care of, being supported, going on trips, traveling, enjoying privacy, and being able to spend on who we want, when we want, and how we want to spend on those individuals, and not question that I don't have enough, won't have enough, I need more, or I'll never have it, however you play it out. There's no reason. But unfortunately, the planet we live on is perfect. We just are not perfect because we had chosen to listen to fools. And fools decided that they wanted to govern our existing life with unfair involvement. And that's what we live: torment, torture, pain, heartache, loss, confusion, death. And death is one thing that is peaceful. It's just that going to death is painful. But again, it's not anything that you probably don't already know, because I'm speaking to a location where the wisest people, the smartest people, the most intelligent people happen to gather, and they're all over the place. So I don't know nothing. I know nothing. There's nothing I know. And yet I'm the wisest member on the planet, exactly the only wisest member on the planet. And the rest of you are all the smartest members on the planet, given your understanding into the code, the system, and technology. So that's books, that's school, and that's market. That's all that jazz. But don't ask me, because I don't know, and I don't care to know, even though I would like to know. I don't care to know because I'm not going to be alive for that much longer anyway. And it's not to count myself short. It's just that I've already decided that my life is more important going to God and being in heaven. And I know we're going to jump into the religion side of this, which there is no religion. I'm sorry. There's no such thing as religion when it comes to God. And that's his truth, not my truth. That's his truth. God's truth is that there was never a religion when God had passed his truth over to existing existence. Never did he sign or speak or align there to be a religion. So that's that to that. And you can argue with yourself if you want to, but you're going to waste your time if you bring it to my attention, because I don't care. I don't care whether you assume you're right, you are right, you're not right, or wherever you line up, wherever it may be. I don't care. I really don't. It's not going to change my mind. It's not going to change my thoughts. It's not going to make me a better person. It's not going to make me a worse person. So to know is unimportant. That's just wasted energy into those topics, and to conversate and discuss that information over just to get nowhere in the end already. It's not going to make anything better. So it's just not. But you can waste your time and go over it as many times as you like. And you can make yourself feel even that much more important when you feel good about remembering and discussing and making someone else forget or not be so sure about what they assume or they think or they already know. And that's up to you. But again, it is what it is. It is what it is. So, but that's the business on that. So I'm not going to argue with any of you. None of you know God. None of you will ever know God. None of you have ever met God. None of you have seen God. None of you know what God is like or his function, what he smells like, what he feels like. You don't know anything about God. You don't. No matter where you speak from, where, what region ever on the planet, you don't know nothing, exactly nothing you know about God. And I'm sorry. So you can be salty about that if you like, but you don't. And you can't tell me you do, and you know and experience God, and this is that, and you explain it because you've never, have you ever, will you ever, and this is while you're alive on the planet. Again, like I stated earlier, if we lived true and right on the planet, our experience would be different, but we don't. So it's not going to happen. It's not. God's not going to come back and waste its time showing up here just to be already disappointed as it is already disappointed as its current moment right in this time. It is disappointed. We live completely upside down, tits sideways wrong. That's what we live on this planet. Hated, disgusted, judged, tormented, frustrated, ashamed. We live all that on this planet. Hated, disliked. We live all that on this planet. That's what we live. Why would you think that God would be happy and joyful and rushing its existing wherever it is back from where it is to a destination far away, our location? Why? What would make you think that that would be God's move? Like, why? Add up what you know about history and what you assume you believe. Again, what you assume you believe, because let me remind you, none of you were here when those moments, if ever they did happen, happened. You weren't here. And you don't know how much of truth, of reality that played into existence based on what you read and what you calculate as to what you've already looked into, that you also want to believe that the outcome is as easy as, oh, this happened, this will happen, this is going to happen next. And it's going to happen in that order because this is what happens when this and this and that and this and then this that leads to this. This is what we know. It's going to be hard to make that true because you were never here. You were never here. Remember that. You were never here. So you don't know. You have no idea. And even though you can compare some things together and this outcome plays out to that, and that's what you know because you've seen this reenact itself over and over again with many other things, and this is what you know is the process based on what you've witnessed, how you've seen it. And that's one thing to count in your favor, and still many more other things that add in that tell you that this could also be something different. And you won't know exactly it's exact until it happens. And that's on a low frequency that you're able to recognize that this and that had similar characteristics. And this happened and it was just as close, if not exact, but you don't know how exact it's not or it was because you don't see that frequency. But what you do see, it's as close as we're going to get, and I'm going to go with it. And that's what you give yourself. So trust me, I know enough to know enough to know enough to know enough, and I only know enough, and that's all I know. And I don't need to fight myself on trying to know anything less or anything more because it doesn't make sense. Whatever it is that you know, you yourself, you know enough to know that you know a lot. All that which you know still adds you into knowing nothing. No matter how much of it you know, you still don't know anything. You must accept that. When you can accept that, your outcome will be that you are as you are where you need to be. And when you get to that point, you'll be fine. You won't stress and worry and frustrate yourself. You won't lose control. You'll be fine. You'll be like, well, I thought I knew and I don't know. And it's okay, I don't know. And you'll be fine with that. You won't beat yourself up. But you're going to beat yourself up because that's what you're doing currently because you're trying to tell yourself you know more than the next person and no one knows anything. No one. I don't care how smart, how intelligent, how wise, how studious, how whatever it is that you think you are. No one knows anything. That's everything that could possibly be known. You still know nothing. And that's what you need to accept. You need to accept that you already don't know nothing. And you're going to stay not knowing anything. Because if it was for you to know, then everyone would know. It would not need for you to know it. It would just be. That's how good that would be. And that's not what we have. We have a lot of information, a lot of wonder, and missing pieces. But again, it is as it is, what it is, where it's at. And that's what we're left with. So deal with it. But nonetheless, so be happy. All of you need to be happy. I've been thinking about the best options for us to adapt and play into our existing life to favor ourselves with God's truth and to allow ourselves to be mercified and forgiven and blessed, loved, and to receive God as God is Almighty. But you're all going to have to work together. And we're all going to have to work together because this is a everyone involved type of scenario. Everyone's got to be on the same page. I don't care what you like, what you don't like, where you are, how much you make, what you think you're worth, or whatever it is that you come up with. We all have to be on the same page. We can't live this life alone. That is a give you. And we can't do it separating and being divided. It's not possible. There's no way for us to do it. Everyone's got to have hands in, and everybody's got to get full return on activity. There's got to be a give and take, but there's got to be more give and less take because we're all going to get a piece of the pie, and there's no need to be greedy. So that's where we give and we take. Now, let me jump in a little ahead of some other places that I would need to explain, and let me jump here where I'm going to start. We need an insurance policy. Now, I know that no one thinks that that is true and or wants that because they like what you already have, which is nothing. You have nothing. There's nothing there. No matter what you tell yourself, what you make yourself believe, and how you see it, you have nothing. But you need an insurance policy. a life insurance, existing life current insurance security plan is what you need. And I've called it many different things. I've written it down on Facebook and Twitter and Reddit and wherever else I'm connected to. TikTok and wherever else I'm connected to. And I'm connected to all the programs: Clubhouse, TikTok, WhatsApp, Facebook. MySpace is no longer, which is disappointing because I enjoyed MySpace. My top 8 was the BiZNiS. What else is there? Twitch, YouTube. What else is there? I'm missing some. Pinterest. I could swear I'm missing something. Signal, Zangy. I think I've collected them all. And if I didn't and I'm missing one, then whatever that one is, I can't remember. But I'm connected to all the programs, for the most part, all of the main programs. And there's not too many new programs that have been introduced that are out there. So that's your main social space, is what I've named. Oh, wait, Reddit. Yeah, no, I've named them all. So that's what it is. I'm connected to them all. I have an account with each one of them. And I maintain my account the best way I can by getting on and trying to communicate with whoever you may be. And I'm very friendly and open and fair. I'm easygoing. I'm nice. I'm considerate. I'm loving. I'm a good guy. So I get on there and I speak to everyone as though we've always known each other. And I speak to the women as they're my girlfriends. And let me break that down to you so you're not confused, as you're already confused because you're confused. All the women like the stars based on looking up from this planet and into the sky during the dark light. That's how many girlfriends I have. And since there are an endless amount of stars throughout the galaxy and the universe, that is an endless amount of girlfriends based on where we live on this planet, in this planet, of this planet, and the amount of women, females, ladies, and chicks throughout our solar universe, Earth planetary. And that's a lot. That's a lot of women. Well, they're all my girlfriends. And the ones that are family are family. I don't negotiate with any of that. And I want you to understand that already. I'm not going to negotiate with it. I've already made up my mind, and my mind is set with what I already accept. And I'm not going to negotiate. If you believe that we should be together, we're already together. If you want to know me, then you reach out and get to know me, because I'm already trying to get to know you. And I don't know how to contact you if we're not already in contact. And if you don't want to have nothing to do with me, it doesn't matter, because in this life means not. Your next life over, which is eternity, is where life starts and functions. That's where the beans and the franks and the potatoes and the pork chops and everything adds up. That's where it adds up in your next life over. So this life is your test run. Your next life is your existing nature. So I'm already with you. I'm like of no other. I'm God. I'm already with you. I've been with you. I'm still here with you. I'll remain with you. We are together as one. I am. And that's who I am. I'm God. And I've already spelled God multiple different ways, but I have a certain way I spell God now, and I like it, and it's very much unique and tasteful. Now, you can say, no, you're not God all you like, and I don't care what you say, you're not God, and that's fine. But I'm God, just as there are no difference to the others who state they're God as well. And they spell it out however they spell out the word God. And no one knows whether God accepts the word God or God's name is something completely else different. No one knows. But to our understanding and how we believe what we see or what we assume to know, we believe that God would spell his name not its its original origin, but what we believe that it would be accepted with is God, God, or Yahweh, or whatever it is you guys believe in your respected region and to your respected God that you respect. And everyone's location is different. No one believes all of the same thing. These areas believe that, those areas believe that, and so on. It rotates and circulates. So you must know that God is still God no matter how many times it jumped and transferred and changed. It's still God. It's just that you believe that God sees your truth over everyone else's truth, and that's what you believe. You're God to have this truth. This is that truth. And you don't know, but you'll be fine. Trust me, you'll be fine. Don't read too much into it and just accept that God is right and you're on the right side of this. You're not going to get left. But, you know, be easy with it though, because you don't want to be too full of yourself and then remind yourself at the last minute when you're being judged, as we believe we're all going to be judged based on our existing life and our activity of behavior and function. So that's where that sits with. So don't go above and beyond the call of your lane, because you will be disappointed. And I'm not saving everyone exactly. I've already saved everyone exactly. I'm not saving anyone from this point forward. You can save yourself. If you can't save yourself, then you're in the wrong lane already, and you need to take a step back. You need to take the biggest step back and reevaluate is what you need to do. But I'm not telling you what to do. I'm only advising you as your best friend, your brother, and your lover, depending on who you are and where we meet up at. And I don't care whether you're a man, you're an animal, you're a beast, you're a human, you're a girl, you're a female. or whatever creature you believe yourself to be, alien, other planetary, or or whatever you believe yourself to be. I don't care. We're already connected. I accepted everything existing in existence. I accepted that. I also accepted that whether I can understand you or not, we are one and the same, and that is its existence because everything that is living is family. All existing truth is still connected down the middle. Its origin is still God, which means that I still win. And I'm not going to take a loss because I can't take a loss given everything I know I've witnessed over the course of me going through this experience and witnessing what I've witnessed as I've witnessed enough to know that you haven't witnessed what I've witnessed. And I can top that by saying I seen an actual alien ship, and this happened while I was in the lockup in jail facing charges from my ex and her husband from some nonsense that they had caused me. And I didn't cause that to myself, but I had to deal with it. And I looked up, let me tell you, I looked up and I had seen an alien ship. And I stared at it the whole time I was in the yard. The whole time I was in the yard, I stared at it until it got so far out of reach that I couldn't see it anymore. That's the honest to true that was an experience that I experienced. Have you witnessed an alien ship? And you can't say that I was doped up on drugs because I smoke drugs and I'm out here doing crazy shit. And that was not something that was real, but I imagined it and this is the outcome. Nope. There was no drugs being shared and gifted and being ingested inside the jailhouse. And I couldn't get it even if I wanted it, and I wouldn't have had any money to spend on it to acquire to even go about that anyway. So that was not an option. But I did see it. Let me tell you what. I looked up at it, watched it, noticed it. It was not far up in the sky, like all the way up high. It was low enough that I could make out what it looked like, how it looked, and that it was moving slow. And it was in Yakima County is where it happened. So that's to those that know my area, that's the location. And I was in the city lockup when I noticed it. I've noticed a lot of things in the sky, but that's my favorite memory that I had witnessed is noticing that I had watched an alien ship pass through Yakima County. And if I would have been not locked up, I would have caught it on camera. But they don't allow cameras in our city jail. And I've noticed that other locations online get to have cameras and all kinds of goodies in their jailhouse. But we're not that cool. And if we are that cool, I wasn't cool enough because I did not have any of my devices while I was locked up. They were taken from me and put away. But nonetheless, that was an experience that I experienced, and it is 100% true. So, eat that, America, or in this case, world. But I can't top anyone else's experience to those that have seen strange phenomenons in the sky and they post them all over online, and that's what they see because I've not seen anything as cool as what I've noticed online except what I noticed when I just explained and it wasn't doing anything crazy. It was just hovering nice and nonchalant like across the sky, headed towards Seattle area, like in that direction, Seattle, and that's exactly where it was headed. It was headed in that direction, and I was like, "Are you serious? Are you serious?" I even tried to get the guard's attention. Like, do you not see this? This is an alien ship. Come look at this shit. But when you're in the lockup, they're not too keen on rushing to where you are so they can stare into what it is you believe you're looking at. And anyone could be on whatever they're on, however they feel it, and they would be rushing all over the place trying to stare into what it is you think you see or that is there, and the guards noticing that they witnessed it too. It's not just you, and that is not a give you of fair and activities. So that's where that shakes its leg. But outside of all that, there's not too much to worry about in my books. I'm safe whether I'm on drugs or I'm not on drugs, and I've smoked a lot of drugs. I've ingested a lot of drugs. I've been on a lot of drugs. I like drugs. I'm not gonna lie and say I don't. I've been high multiple times. I'm not gonna go into detail how recent the last high I was on because I don't want my video to be subjected to the least amount of attention and to be hated because uh, you weak-minded bullshit bitches are all like, oh, well, he said he smoked drugs and he's been on drugs and he's on drugs right now or whatever the case it may be. And then that is the outcome of your hate and misunderstanding. So I'm not I'm not going to get 100% on the ball and play that out. But I've been on drugs, and I know that I've been on drugs because I've been on drugs. And I'm only saying that because I'm not afraid to be on drugs. I know what drugs do to my system, and they don't get me high and loopy and out of control. So since that doesn't happen because my system eats the drug and disperses the the chemical or whatever it is, the substance differently through my system, then I know. And that's what happens. I don't get loopy and all out of it. I just smoke the drug or get the drug or however the drug is ingested and I'm fine. Unless it's fentanyl, and then it's a different story because I've died many times on fentanyl and I got brought back and I'm still here. I wish I would have died and not been brought back, but that's another story for another moment, and that's not this moment right now. So, but all the other drugs I've been on, and they don't affect me. So I'm good to go.